Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to the 30 Days of Heads challenge. This is the third of 4 episodes, and today I'll show you the 7 stylized heads I created in week 3. Before we start, I'm sorry for sounding like this. I managed to catch a cold. So this episode is a little different compared to the first and second one. Today I'm showing you the exact references I'm working with, and the reason I'm doing so is so that you can see what look I'm trying to create and what I'm going for. Because in stylization there is not one general look that you create. Every character is different, and that's why I'm showing you the references and the concepts I'm using. The reason I chose to do stylized heads is because stylization is very different to the normal and realistic look. Stylized art works with exaggerated and abnormal shapes, and that means that usually the eyes are a lot bigger than what normal eyes look like. And the noses are typically smaller, while the ears can really be anything. They can be bigger or smaller, it really depends on the concept, but they're usually out of proportion as well. And the heads in general are a lot bigger compared to the body than they'd usually be. So everything is really just out of proportion. What I like about stylization is that you have these basic rules, like the eyes are big and the nose is pretty small. You'd think that maybe leads to a specific look, but it really doesn't. Every character looks so different from one another, and that's because they have an expression usually. These concepts, they're not just a character like based on what they look like, they also express something with their bodies and faces. But as cool as that is, I really try to stick to a resting position, because that's what you would do in a production. In a production, you'd model everything in a neutral pose, and then once it's modeled, it's gonna be rigged, and then the animator can give the characters their expression. That's just how it works in a production, and that's why I try to keep every character in a neutral pose. And in this specific case, in this example, you might have noticed that I closed her mouth, and that's exactly the reason for it. This concept is so cute, and I especially love her voluminous hair. She looks amazing. But what's really interesting about her are her ears, because they have a really interesting shape, and they stick out quite a bit, and they sit very low on her head. But her facial expression is so adorable, and again, the eyes are huge. So you might have noticed that all of these faces are rather round, and this one in particular is extremely round. I mean, it's not just her face, it's her mouth and the ears and of course her eyes. And what tops all of this are the 2 buns that she has on her head. What's breaking up this really circle-based look are her long fingers and her rather long neck. It's crazy how fast I've become at sculpting these heads. I remember in the beginning it took me around 3 hours, maybe 4, for each head, and now it's like 1.5. But obviously this is something you can't really tell by these time lapses. Anyway, what I really liked about this concept is the jacket and her huge glasses. And I mean, I knew I wasn't gonna model either of it, but it really made the concept stand out, especially with these bright colors that are being used in the concept. Her shapes are really similar to the ones we had before and very typical for stylized characters, but again, the expression makes all the difference. And I really like the vision, the idea of this entire image. This is kind of an abstract one because she's one of the rare ones that have realistic looking hair and skin. And she just feels very real in general, but she still has these huge eyes and these big lips. She's kind of in the middle of being realistic and being stylized. She's neither one of it, but it works. I decided to cheat a little bit on this one and give her a neck, just because I wanted to stay consistent within this challenge. But yeah, I really love this entire concept. I love the look of it, I love the story it tells, and honestly, the way I've chosen these concepts is just by going on Pinterest, looking up stylized characters and just picking whatever I liked. And of course, it doesn't really matter what the colors look like or anything at all. I'm really just sculpting the head for practice sake, and that's it. So technically I could have taken any concept of a stylized character that's out there. The final head for this week is quite similar to the first one. I really love the look of this. I love these elf-like ears and the baby face look. And even though I don't like to spoil things, I want to tell you why I decided to practice this particular look one more time. It's because I created this exact look in week 4 again, and I textured and groomed it, and I knew that I wanted to do this, so I practiced it one more time in this week before doing the final version that I was gonna render. I absolutely love these concepts, and I knew I wanted to do one of these from start to finish in 3D. And with this little spoiler for the final episode, we've reached the end of this one. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did so, feel free to subscribe to this channel and follow me on any social media platform. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week in the final episode. I really can't wait to show you what the final heads and the end result of all of this looks like. So you're not gonna want to miss this. But until then, I wish you a great day and a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye!